Well, let's get more details about the federal government's plan to keep Line 5 from being shut down and what's at stake for Canada. Seamus O'Regan is Canada's Minister of Natural Resources. He is with me now. Minister O'Regan, thanks for taking time to speak with me. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Look, you filed an amicus curiae brief with the U.S. District Court in Michigan today. So to be clear for our viewers, that's a filing that allows a third party with an interest in the outcome of the legal process to weigh in. Your government makes the case that the threatened shutdown of Line 5 raises grave concerns about the Canada-U.S. relationship. In what ways?
Well, it certainly raises grave concerns about our energy security, and that's our concern here. As you said, the amicus brief is you become involved as a friend of the court. The dispute we acknowledge is between Enbridge and Michigan, but what we're saying is we have a national interest here, and we have information that we believe is relevant to the dispute. That's formally what we're saying to the court. Mm-hmm. In fairly plain language, what we're saying is, look, there is a treaty between Canada and the U.S., the Pipeline Transit Treaty of 1977. It applies to Line 5. Michigan should not be able to unilaterally close Line 5. The federal court in Michigan has jurisdiction here. And look, in the event that mediation fails, and that's where it is right now between these two parties, right. They're under a court-ordered mediation. In the event that mediation fails, and the federal court should not order Line 5 shut down until Canada and the U.S. have had a chance to work the matter out through the provisions of the treaty. So that's where things stand. Okay. We want to make sure that treaty is exceptionally important, and if you read it, it is fairly, again, plain spoken about its intentions.
Well, let's talk about that. It's a treaty that protects the cross-border pipelines from, in many ways, political interference and anything else that would stop the transmission of energy products from one country through another country back to the original country. Now,
exactly.
You're saying the court should prevent the Governor of Michigan from shutting down Line 5, while those discussions may continue between the Canadian government and the Biden administration. So let's go there. What's the nature of those discussions, and are they with the President himself? Because so far, Joe Biden seems disinclined to go to bat for Canada on pipelines and go against the Governor of Michigan, who happens to be a close Democratic ally and ran his election campaign.
Well, look, we've had all sorts of discussions, with senators. I've spoken myself with the Energy Secretary. We've spoken with the President, with the Vice President. They're certainly all aware of it. But it is between two parties in court, in the District Court in Michigan. It is between the state of Michigan and Enbridge. It was extremely important at this juncture that we came forward and said, look, this is something that is in Canada's national interest, as you put it, and we have we are quite interested in the outcome. But having said that, it is between these two parties. I do have.
But aren't you really serving notice?
Yeah. I do have faith in these parties coming to a sensible result.
Aren't you really serving notice today that you think that it is beyond a dispute between two parties? When you present a brief that has language in it that it raises grave concerns about the relationship between the two countries, it's more than just a fight between Michigan and Enbridge, isn't it?
Well, certainly, as far as the courts are concerned, and that is quite essential right now, as far as the courts are concerned, this is between the state of Michigan and Enbridge. But having said that, no, absolutely. It was very important that we come forward and say this is something that is in the Canadian national interest, that this is an integral part of our energy security. As you pointed out, this pipeline is not an export pipeline. This is a pipeline, while it does export some product, it originates in Alberta, goes through it, and then comes through Saskatchewan, then Wisconsin, Michigan, then on through to Ontario and Quebec. And that's why we're very clear that the 1977 treaty has relevance here, the transit treaty. There's also a dispute settlement mechanism that's contained within that too, that, what we're saying is you can't shut down this pipeline without a court order. And we make, I think, a very strong argument that, were the courts ever so inclined, they would have to make sure that they invoked the treaty first.
Right. So this your approach, and you and I have discussed it, looks beyond the possibility that mediation might actually fail. I think the government is still hoping for a mediated solution to the dispute, but based on how entrenched the position of the Governor of Michigan is, what kind of mediated settlement do you think would satisfy Gretchen Whitmer, who wants the line shut down completely?
Well, I mean, that'll be, between the state of Michigan, the court and Enbridge. But, I will say, look, I fervently believe that the windshield here is bigger than the rearview mirror. We have this administration and our government, and many provincial governments, I should add as well, are so aligned on issues of the environment, the economy, energy, and combating climate change. It is, I don't have to tell you or anybody watching, it's night and day compared to the Trump administration. We have, we're both ambitious, and we have an incredible amount of opportunity before us, particularly if we work together. But having said that, given all that goodwill and given all that ambition, perhaps, it does put in perspective what we had to do today, which is make sure that we picked up for Canada's national interest. It very much is Line 5.
Yeah, some are suggesting there's an arbitration process involved in the treaty as well. Some are suggesting you move straight to that instead of waiting for the outcome of mediation. You could have signaled that today, saying, look, we want to invoke the provisions of a treaty that allow us to go straight to arbitration and get this thing settled. Why not do that?
Well, look, I think we have to respect the court's jurisdiction. I am not going to start offering legal advice to myself. We have good lawyers who have given us good advice on this, and we are extremely well represented in Washington as well by the ambassador and by Joe Comartin, our consul general, who's in Detroit. They know the ground. We have been following this obviously intently. I have been as minister, and we've also worked very closely with other provinces as well. I mean, my relationship on this, I have a strong alliance and a common position with Minister Savage and Minister Eyre in Alberta and Saskatchewan, Minister Rickford in Ontario, and Minister Julien in Quebec. It's not often, I think, you'd have to acknowledge that these provinces, this federal government, are as one on issues of energy, the environment, and the economy. We are on this. Line 5 is in our national interest.
You've had lots of time to look at contingency plans if it is shut down. So you mean the governor of Michigan made her intentions clear last fall. So what's the plan if it does get shut down?
Well, energy will get to market because it has to. We can't have people go cold in winter. But, it will involve a lot of 18-wheelers clogging up the 401 and the 403 around the greater Toronto area. It will involve a lot of idling 18-wheelers at the border. It will involve boats, going through the Great Lakes, carrying oil and oil product up through the St. Lawrence, and it will involve rail. It won't be nearly as efficient or as cheap or inexpensive anyway, or as safe as this pipeline does, as it has done for 68 years.
All right. Canada's Minister of Natural Resources, Seamus O'Regan. Good of you to give us some of your time tonight, Minister. Take care.
Always good to talk to you.